Hello and welcome to another interesting edition in physiology. Medical physiology, where we'll be looking at the cell physiology, the function of the cell, and the cell organelle. I'm Morgan Epika Izulkama Jr. Ensure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on the notification button so that you'll be able to receive each content that I upload. Okay, so what is cell physiology? What is it? So cell physiology or cell function is just a single cell. A single cell is the smallest unit that has all characteristics of life. So a cell is defined as a structural function unit of a living body. That's how a cell is defined. It is a structural and function unit of a living body. Okay. Then that is the cell. So we've looked at that's how a cell should be defined. It's a structural and function unit of a living organism. So these are the general characteristics of a cell. So a cell possesses these characteristics. So each cell in the body needs nutrition and oxygen. Each cell in our body needs nutrition and oxygen. Then a cell also produces its own energy necessary for its own growth, repair, and other activities. Then it also eliminates carbon dioxide and other metabolic waste, and it also maintains the medium, that is the environment, for its survival. Then it also shows the immediate others like bacteria or toxic substance into the body. Then 6, it also reproduces by division. Okay, so there are some exceptions like neurons, which do not reproduce. Remember, neurons, they don't even reproduce and they do not undergo cell divisions. Okay. So these are the characteristics of the cells. Now, a cell, it being a basic unit of a living organism. So a group of cells working together, they form what we call tissues. What is a tissue? A tissue is defined as a group of cells having similar function. Like we have 4 types of tissues. The first one is the muscle tissue. Muscle tissue, there are 3 major muscle tissue that we have in our body. We have the skeletal muscle. These are the muscles that are found on the skeleton. The smooth muscle, these are the muscles that are found in the alimentary canal as well as the blood vessels. The cardiac muscles, these are the muscles of the heart. Then we have the nervous tissue. Nervous tissue includes the neuron and the supporting cells. Epithelial tissue includes the squamous, columnar, cuboidal, epithelial, and epithelial cells. So these are examples of epithelial tissues. Then connective tissue, which is the last type of tissue. Connective tissue includes the connective tissue proper, cartilage, bones, and blood. Okay, so these are the 4 major types of tissue: muscle tissue, nervous tissue, epithelial tissue, and connective tissue. Okay, so a group of tissue working together, performing similar function, they form what we call an organ. So an organ is defined as a structure that is formed by 2 or more primarily types of tissue which execute function of the organ. Okay. Then system, a group of organs working together, performing similar function, they form what we call system. So system, the organ system is defined as the group of organs that work together and carry out specific function to the body. This is the hierarchy of cells to organisms. So cell organelles, remember an organelle, this is a membrane bound structure. So cell organelle, a group of cell organelle working together, they form what we call cells. And a group of cells working together performing similar function, they form what we call tissues. And the group of tissues working together performing similar function, they form what we call organs. And the group of organs working together performing similar function, they form what we call organ system. And the group of organ system performing together and working together performing similar function, they form what we call an organism. So this is just a simple hierarchy that shows from the cell organelle all the way up to the organism. So this hierarchy, you shouldn't even have to forget it. Now, let's look at the cell membrane, the physiology of the cell membrane. The cell membrane is a protective sheath enveloping the cell body. It is also known as the plasma protein. So the other name for the cell membrane, it's the plasma protein, or rather the plasmalemma. This is the membrane that separates the fluid outside the cell, called the extracellular fluid. Remember, the fluid that is found outside the cell, we call it extracellular fluid. And the fluid that is found inside the cell, it is called intracellular fluid. So the cell membrane is a semi-permeable membrane, meaning that it allows certain substance to enter, to pass through the cell while refusing other substance. So there is a free exchange of certain substance between the extracellular fluid and the intracellular fluid. So the cell membrane, this is an example on how the cell membrane looks like. So if you look at this diagram here, on our diagram we have these the hydrophilic portion as well as the hydrophobic portion. So the hydrophilic portion includes the head of the cells. These are the cell body. And then the hydrophobic portion, this is the oasis, includes the tail. And then the head includes hydrophilic. So hydrophilic as well as hydrophobic. So hydrophobic part, it's the one that this is how they are arranged up together. Then we have also what we call the phospholipid. That's the combination of the phosphorus as well as the lipid. Then we have cholesterol entering through this cell membrane. Okay, now what is the function of the cell membrane? The cell membrane has got 6 functions. The first one is the protective function. The cell membrane protects the cytoplasm and the organelle present in the cytoplasm. Okay. Then the second function is that it is a selective permeability. It has the selective permeability, meaning that the cell membrane acts as a semi-permeable, allows some other substance to pass through it and act as a barrier for other substances. Then the third function that the cell membrane possesses, it's absorptive function. That is, it has the ability to absorb nutrients into the cell throughout the membrane. Then the fourth function is that it has the excretory function. So metabolites and other waste products from the cells are excreted out of the cell through the cell membrane. Then also the fifth function is that exchange of gases, like oxygen enters the cell from the blood, and carbon dioxide leaves the cell and enters the blood through the cell membrane. Then the sixth function of the cell membrane is that it maintains the shape and the size of the cell. So maintenance of the shape and the size of the cell. Cell membrane is the one that is responsible for the maintenance of the shape and the size of the cell. Then mitochondria. Remember, these are organelles. Mitochondria is a membrane-bound structure, and it is concerned with the production of energy, which is ATP, the adenosine triphosphate. The outer membrane is a smooth and enclosed content of the mitochondrion. This membrane contains the various enzymes such as acetyl-CoA synthetase. So it has these enzymes, acetyl-CoA synthetase and glycophosphatase acetyltransferase. Okay, so these are the 2 enzymes that are found within the mitochondria. The inner membrane is folded in form of a sheath like inward projection that is called the crystal, and it covers the inner matrix space. The crystal contains many enzymes and other protein molecules which are involved in the respiration and synthesis of adenosine triphosphate, abbreviated as in ATP. So this is the structure of the mitochondria. Remember, it has the DNA in it, which is the deoxyribonucleic acid. It has the inner matrix as well as the space and the ribosomes, the one that synthesize proteins. Then it also has the outer membrane. Then it has the inner membrane as well. So this is the physiology of the mitochondria, the structure of the mitochondria and its labeled parts. Function of the mitochondria. The mitochondria plays, it has three major functions. The first one is the production of energy. So production of energy, remember in biochemistry, this is where a lot of energy is produced by the process called the Krebs cycle, the tricarboxylic acid cycle. So the tricarboxylic acid cycle, the one that plays a major role in the energy production, also the synthesis of ATP, as well as the initiation of apoptosis. Now remember, the mitochondria is referred to be as the powerhouse of the cell. And this mitochondria, it is the site for energy production. Now, how does it happen? What is the biochemical pathway for the mitochondria to produce the energy? Remember, pyruvate is converted. So from glycolysis, we have the end pyruvate. So this pyruvate, it is impermeable to the matrix of the mitochondria, meaning that it cannot enter the matrix of the mitochondria. Hence, pyruvate has to be converted to acetyl-CoA by the enzyme called pyruvate dehydrogenase. And acetyl-CoA, it is the soluble molecule that has the ability to enter the matrix of the mitochondria. When acetyl-CoA enters the matrix of the mitochondria, it initiates the first reaction where oxaloacetate is converted to form citrate by the enzyme called citrate synthase. And then citrate is converted to form, it undergoes the second reaction where citrate is converted to form isocitrate. Isocitrate is also converted to form C-citrate. Then the enzyme that does the second and the third conversion of isocitrate to C-citrate, it is called aconitas. Then C-citrate is also converted to form isocitrate by the enzyme called isocitrate. It's the same isocitrate. The enzyme is called aconitas. Then isocitrate is converted to form alpha-ketoglutarate by the enzyme called isocitrate dehydrogenase. Then alpha-ketoglutarate is converted to form succinyl, and then succinyl is also converted to form succinyl. The enzyme that converts alpha-ketoglutarate to succinyl, it is called alpha-ketoglutarate hydrogenase. Then from succinyl to succinate, the enzyme that does conversion is called succinyl thiokinase. Okay. Then from succinyl to we have succinate. Succinate, the conversion of succinate to mallate, it is done by the enzyme called succinate dehydrogenase. Then from fumarate to mallate, the enzyme that does the conversion is called fumarase. And then from fumarase converts fumarate to mallate, and mallate to oxaloacetate, the enzyme that does the conversion of mallate to oxaloacetate, it's called mallate dehydrogenase. So when this wheel, it continued to spin round and round the tricarboxylic acid cycle, producing energy in form of ATP as well as NADPH and GPT. So these are the energy that are produced in the tricarboxylic acid cycle, and that's how the mitochondria plays an important role in energy production. Ribosomes, these are concerned with protein synthesis in the cell. Types of ribosomes: we have ribosomes that are attached to the rough endoplasmic reticulum, and also the free ribosomes that are distributed in the cytoplasm. The function of the ribosomes: ribosome number one, they play an important role in the synthesis. The role is that they synthesize protein. We have the messenger RNA, that is messenger RNA, the one that carries the genetic code for protein synthesis from the nucleus to the ribosomes. So the ribosomes in turn, they usually arrange the amino acid into small subunit of protein. Ribosomes attached to the rough endoplasmic reticulum are involved in the synthesis of proteins such as enzymatic proteins and monoproteins, ribosomal protein, and proteins of the cell membrane. Free ribosomes are responsible for the synthesis of protein in hemoglobin and the perosomes and mitochondria. Endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum, it is a network of tabular and microsomal vesicular structures which are interconnected with one another. Then we have rough endoplasmic reticulum. Rough endoplasmic reticulum, this one, it has the appearance that is due to the attachment of the granular ribosomes to its outer surface. The function includes synthesis of proteins. Then the second one, it has to do with degradation of the worn out organelles. The Golgi apparatus. This is a complex. This one, it is a membrane complex bound organelle. It involves the processing of proteins. The major function of the Golgi apparatus is that it processes protein, packaging protein, labeling protein, as well as the delivering of protein and lipids. Lysosomes, these are membrane-bound vesicles organelles throughout the cytoplasm. The lysosomes are formed by the Golgi apparatus. The enzyme synthesized in the rough endoplasmic reticulum are processed and packed in form of small vesicles in the Golgi apparatus. Then these vesicles are pinched off from the Golgi apparatus and become lysosomes. Lysosomes are often called garbage system. So they are often called garbage system of the cell because of their degradation activity, and function includes degradation of the macromolecule. Number two, degradation of the worn out organelle, removal of excess secretory products. Then four, secretion of perforin and granzyme, melanin, and serotonin. Then the perosomes. Perosomes or microbodies. These are membrane-limited vesicles like the lysosomes. Unlike lysosome, the perosomes are pinched off from the endoplasmic reticulum and not from the Golgi apparatus. Perosomes contain some oxidative enzymes such as catalase and the urate oxidases, as well as amino acid oxidases. So the function of the perosomes are, it has 7 functions. The first function, it breaks down excess fatty acids. Number 2, detoxification of hydrogen peroxide and other metabolites products. Number 3, oxygen utilization and also acceleration of gluconeogenesis. Then 5, degradation of the purine uric acid. 6. It plays the role in the formation of myelin and also the role in the formation of the bile acid. Cytoskeleton. This one is a network protein fiber extending throughout the fluid cytoplasm. The microfilament, it has the 3 to 6 nanometer. Then it has intermediate filaments that has 10 nanometer rope, like the fibrous protein. These ones, they provide structural reinforcement and also anchor organelles. They also keep nucleus in place. Then microtubules from 20 to 30 harrow tubes of the tubulin. These are globular protein of the microtubule that are straight, hollow, and the tubule structure of the cytoskeleton. These, they maintain the shape and they anchor organelle. They also brings about movement of the organelle and they track the motor protein. Then function of the cytoskeleton is that, number 1, they brings about determination of shape of the cell and also stability of the cell shape and cellular movement. So cytoskeleton, this is how they look like. We have the tubulin subunit. So this is the tubulin subunit of the microtubes. And then we have the intermediate filaments that has the fibrous subunit. Okay, it has the fiber subunits. Then we have the microfilaments, which has the actin subunit. So you need to understand that the cytoskeleton is in 3 categories. We have the microtubule, intermediate filament, and microfilament. So the microtubule has the tubulin subunit. The intermediate filament has the fibrous subunit, and then the microfilament has the actin subunit. So these are the differences that you must take note of on the cytoskeleton. Now, the centrosome and centrioles. Remember centrosomes and centrioles? Centrosomes is just an attachment-bound cellular organelle situated almost in the center of the cell, close to the nucleus. It consists of the two cylindrical structure called centrioles, which is made up of proteins. So a pair of cylindrical organelles near the nucleus composed of 9 tubes. Each within the 3 tubes, centrioles are responsible for the movement of the chromosomes during cell division. Then we have what we call the cilia. Now, cilia, they also play an important role. The cilia they are involved in the cellular movement and are composed of microtubules. So these are the cilia, and the ciliary bodies. These ciliated cells are found in the respiratory tract. They help to trap dust particles. And we also have special cells that we call goblet cells, the one that produces mucus in the respiratory tract. When they produce the mucus, what will happen is that the ciliated cells will now start wiping the dust particles through the mucus that is produced. Okay, so if you have, you can drop them in the comment box below, or if anything, you can just hit me up on the comment section below. Okay, thank you so much, and be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more important lessons, and shalom.